Minecraft is one of the best-selling video games of all time, and if you're familiar with it, you know of the 2-week Minecraft phase. The 2-week Minecraft phase is the name of the phenomenon in which a lot of people who play Minecraft typically won't touch it all year, and then for 2 weeks will get with their friends, play it non-stop in those 2 weeks, beat the game, whatever, and then just stop. So why do people do this? And why is it almost always 2 weeks long? What if I told you that the creator of Minecraft had planned for this? He was so sure, in fact, that this is how the game should be played that he hired a poet to create the end poem at the very end of the game to talk about just this. According to the Wikipedia article about the end poem, in October 2011, Minecraft's creator, Marcus Notch Persson, was preparing to launch the official version of the game, and his company Mojang had even prepared a launch event, though at the point, he had no ending for the game. Persson tweeted that he was seeking someone to write a silly, over-the-top, out-of-nowhere text for When You Win. His followers recommended the Irish writer Julian Go, and Persson became convinced after reading Go's earlier short story, The Eye Hole. Go remembers that Persson felt the death of the Ender Dragon should trigger a narrative, but since Persson wasn't a word guy and hadn't a clue what the narrative should say, Go was given freedom in composing the work. Go had played Minecraft in alpha at a game jam but not thought much of it, and was unaware of its popularity until Persson reached out to him. Go played it some more and then wrote the text. Upon submitting the finished work to Persson, Go wondered if he should cut it, but Persson was pleased that it related to his philosophy of life and wanted it kept in full. It debuted alongside the rest of the end credits and the full endgame mechanics in beta version 1.9. So imagine this. You are Notch. You are the guy who came up with this cute little block sandbox game, and you want to have a satisfying conclusion. A game with no story whatsoever. Nothing. And you hired this dude to write a little poem at the end? Clearly he had a lot of confidence in the guy. So let's go ahead and see what he wrote. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this poem is insanely long. I think it takes 9 minutes for the game to scroll on this alone, so we're not gonna take a look at the whole thing. Now, the premise of this poem is that there's two beings. They don't really go into detail what they are, but they're just kind of talking to each other about you, the player, who just beat the Ender Dragon. So I'll go ahead and jump to the next section. At this point, the two voices are kind of just going back and forth about how proud they are of you, the player, and how you can't really understand what they are, so they're going to tell a story. So the story begins with them just telling you, take a deep breath, take another, feel air in your lungs, let your limbs return. Yes, move your fingers, have a body again, under gravity in air, respawn in a long dream. That's referencing the fact that you just beat the game. Now you are back sitting in your chair in the real world. And then it talks about who these voices are that are talking. Once we recall the spirit of the mountain, father, sun, mother, moon, ancestral spirits, animal spirits, jinn, ghosts, the green man, the gods, demons, etc. These voices are essentially the universe itself. They aren't this specific idea. They are just the universe. And then they finally get into the story. Once upon a time, there was a player. The player was you. Sometimes it thought itself human on the thin crust of a spinning globe of molten rock. The ball of molten rock circled a ball of blazing gas that was 330,000 times more massive than it. They were so far apart that light took 8 minutes to cross the gap. The light was information from a star, and it could burn your skin from 150 million kilometers away. Sometimes the player dreamed it was a miner, on the surface of a world that was flat and infinite. The sun was a square of white, the days were short, there was much to do, and death was a temporary inconvenience. Sometimes the player dreamed it was lost in a story. Sometimes the player dreamed it was other things and other places. Sometimes these dreams were disturbing. Sometimes very beautiful indeed. Sometimes the player woke from one dream into another, then woke from that into a third. Sometimes the player dreamed it watched words on a screen. So as you can kind of see, it's equating our real life living to Minecraft and considering those dreams. The long dream is usually what they refer to as the real world. And then Minecraft and even just, going to sleep and dreaming, that's just a dream. The same as Minecraft or any other game or any other thing that isn't the long dream or reality. Then the poem segues to talking about you, the player. It says, let's go back. The atoms of the player were scattered in the grass, in the rivers, in the air, in the ground. A woman gathered the atoms, she drank and ate and inhaled, and the woman assembled the player in her body. And the player awoke from the warm, dark world of its mother's body into the long dream. And the player was a new story, never told before, written in letters of DNA. And the player was a new program, never run before, generated by a source code a billion years old. And the player was a new human, never alive before, made from nothing but milk and love. You are the player, the story, the program, the human, made from nothing but milk and love. Then in the next section it says to go even further back than the player. The 7 billion atoms of the player's body were created long before this game in the heart of a star. So the player too is information from a star, and the player moves through a story which is a forest of information planted by a man called Julian on a flat infinite world created by a man called Marcus that exists inside a small private world created by the player who inhabits a universe created by... It cuts off there because we don't know who made the world unless you believe in a particular ideology. But then it gets to another section that goes, sometimes it believed it was in a universe that was made of energy, that was made of offs and ons, zeros and ones, lines of code. Sometimes it believed it was playing a game. Sometimes it believed it was reading words on a screen. You are the player, reading words. Josh, sometimes the player read lines of code on a screen, decoded them into words, decoded words into meaning, decoded meaning into feelings, emotions, theories, ideas, and the player started to breathe faster and deeper and realized it was alive. It was alive. Those 1,000 deaths had not been real. The player was alive. You are alive. And then finally, the ending, the best part. And sometimes the player believed the universe had spoken to it through the zeros and ones, through the electricity of the world, through the scrolling words on a screen at the end of a dream. And the universe said, I love you. And the universe said, you have played the game well. And the universe said, everything you need is within you. And the universe said, you are stronger than you know. And the universe said, you are the daylight. And the universe said, you are the night. And the universe said that the darkness you fight is within you. And the universe said, the light you seek is within you. And the universe said, you are not alone. And the universe said, you are not separate from either other thing. And the universe said, you are the universe, tasting itself, talking to itself, reading its own code. And the universe said, I love you, because you are love. And the game was over, and the player awoke from the dream. And the player began a new dream. And the player dreamed again, dreamed better. And the player was the universe, and the player was love. You are the player. Wake up. Alright, so that was kind of a long poem, but how does that relate to the 2-week Minecraft phase? This poem talks a lot about the interconnectedness of the universe. Those two voices that are going back and forth, they are the universe, they say. And then they call you, the player, also the universe. They talk about how everything you encounter in life, whether it is in reality or in the game or in another dream or in another game or just anything, it all comes from this first big bang at the beginning of the universe, how it's all connected. But these are all dreams, whether it's, again, in real life or not. It's something that impacts you and how you think and can have an impact on your life. And when it comes to these dreams, they have a huge impact on who we are. And that's what Minecraft tries to be. Minecraft wants to be the game where you can take some time away and just do whatever you want. Minecraft is a sandbox game. There is no story. There is no set task for you to do. You don't even have to fight the Ender Dragon. You don't even have to see this poem to begin with. You can do whatever you want. But all dreams have to come to an end. And that's what the ending of the poem is referring to. It's telling the player to wake up now that they have experienced this dream. Because as great as living in dreams is, the only thing that is real is reality. And you can't dodge that. And so the message of Minecraft then, at the end of the day, is not to live in this game and keep playing it forever, or to optimize it the best you can, spend thousands and thousands of hours and live in this virtual world. It's to take a break from the virtual world for a short time, for a 2-week phase with your friends, use your imaginations, live a dream in there. And then finally, once it's all at an end and you've gotten all your creativity and imagination out that you couldn't get out in the real world, you come back to reality with this new perspective, this new revitalization. And that's awesome. So in conclusion, this dude Notch created a sandbox game without a story, where you can do anything. You can farm, you can fight monsters, you can fight a dragon, you could build a lighthouse, you can sail in the ocean, you can do whatever you want. And that's why it is the highest selling game of all time. But the message of this is that it's all a dream. It's a great way to take a break from reality and to express yourself and your imagination. But eventually, you do have to return to reality, and that's okay. I'll end this off with a quote from a really popular book called Walden. It goes, "If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them." Go ahead and have your 2-week Minecraft phase with your friends, and have a good night.